Okay, so this is an unconventional shot, but I was taking some arty pictures earlier and I thought, let's not waste the setup. So welcome back, chickens. And look at me sticking with something for 2 months in a row. Are you proud of me? February's adventure is an epic tale where I struggle to fold paper, accidentally convince all 3 of my friends that I have secret crushes on them, and learn to fall in love with the outside world again. So what am I obsessively making this month? Well, February is the month of love, so I thought I'd try my hand at Galentines. Galentine's Day is technically the day before Valentine's Day and is a day to show love to the special platonic ladies in your life. Although I was still working on these after the 13th, so they're very, very late. Sorry guys. In fact, at time of recording, they still haven't been sent, but they will be sent eventually, hopefully before you watch this video. But these aren't just any Galentines, because I have to try and find the extra in every situation. These are Victorian puzzle box style Galentines. If you've never seen these before, they're a way of folding paper, originally used in Japan to hold small objects like buttons or seeds. They were adapted into love letters at some point in the 16th century and again in the 19th, as a way of expressing your undying love and maybe enclosing a love token like a lock of hair if you find that romantic and not entirely horrific. I'm kind of 50-50 about it myself. If it sounds like I know a lot about these, don't be fooled. I'm interested, not an expert. I'll link my sources below for people who like that sort of thing, but anyway, I think these are gorgeous and I'm going to make life harder for myself and make 5. First things first, I have to get my head around the folding. So I've been practicing it and there's just this one bit that I cannot figure out. In all the videos I've watched, it just sort of happens, but every time I try it, it's just not happening. I don't understand it. They just do a pinchy pinch and just like twist it and it's just, it forms the pinwheel, but it took me forever to get my head around it. Okay, so the basics of how it works is like this. You use a square of paper. If you have A4, just fold it into a triangle and cut off the excess, then unfold it and fold it in the opposite direction. Now fold it into thirds one way and then the other. And fold each corner up, creasing along just the right side. Flip it back over and twist together. Fold the corners over and there you have it. Now the word Galentines might be fairly modern. I mean, that Galentines episode of Parks and Rec came out like however many years ago, so modernish. But the sentiment is a lot older. Women, and occasionally men, were a lot more comfortable being close with their friends than I think many of us are today. Take Anne and Diana in the Anne of Green Gables books. It's easy to categorise their love as romantic by modern standards, but that takes away from the beauty that is platonic love. It's not lesser or a consolation prize, it's just as deep and just as important. There's so much more to love than the romantic variety. There's the love we feel for the inanimate objects that make us happy, the love of our pets.
Are you okay? Are you just chilling? Chilling like a villain.
Our home, our family, our friends, even those no longer with us. Graveyards get such a bad rap for being scary and spooky, but the way I think about it, there is no other place that is filled with more love. Every headstone was placed by someone who loved that person so much that they wanted to be able to find and visit with them, even after they were no longer here. It's a melancholy kind of love, but it's love all the same. Okay, now I've finished my love speech, let's get back to actually making these babies. I started out by tea staining some watercolour paper, and whilst I waited for that to dry, I planned out what I was going to write in each one. Once that was done, I could fold them all. These are actually a lot easier to fold on thinner paper, and I chose watercolour paper because I thought it would hold up to the most amount of water for paint and tea staining and fountain pen. But I don't think it was entirely necessary, and it did make it a little bit harder to get the folds crisp. Each Galentine took a few hours to complete, and I tried not to do more than one a day because they were quite exhausting, to tell you the truth. I also wanted to try and experience February as much as I could, especially now that the crocuses are starting to bloom and the flowers are waking up again. February has been so beautiful and I almost missed it by locking myself indoors on a project. I have a bit of a thing with social anxiety, and filming where anyone might see me is a literal nightmare. I don't even like being on camera that much if I can help it, but I've been trying to tackle that fear slowly by just going places and filming short bursts of scenery on my phone. Because of this goal, I took myself to a park I've been past plenty of times but never in. I walked around my local graveyard alone and found so much beauty and so many memories left by strangers. I took my dog on walks and touched trees older than my house, and I filmed it. I think that was the scariest part. Home again and back to work. Folding, drawing, painting, writing. Eventually they were all done, and all that was left was to place a token within each one. They're nothing fancy. My goal was to spend nothing on this project, but things as small as a piece of sea glass I picked up in Scotland or a piece of dried lavender I stole from a park last summer. For one friend who loves her hamster William, an even tinier paper puzzle box for my tiny furry unofficial godson. And then, just like that, they're ready to be sent off to their potentially confused recipients, and February is over. I like this month. I don't normally think about it much, if I'm honest, but by taking the time to observe its passing, I definitely think I've appreciated it more, and I can see the start of the changes in the air. Spring is on its way, and I'm so excited to meet her when she does.